there's gonna be like you're gonna accidentally download a mod that's like got Taylor Swift with the dragon head. Like it's gonna be a dragon with Swifty's head, dude. And I'm like fishing like a 5 out of my pocket. I'm like, here you go, and then I still miss my flight. You can get away with a lot if you're cute. You can get away with a lot of racism,
regardless of your age.
A lot of harassment.
Cuteness gets you far in life.
Cuteness will prevail. But,
what's your in the last few months? What's your most successful trolling?
Well, just in general, we were talking about this the other day, which was I had just posted a video on Instagram of how my water filter died.
There was a death in your family?
Yeah, I think that's how I started it. There's been a death in the household. And I was actually very surprised how many people were terrified that one of my cats had died.
Yeah.
Like, I had a feeling some people might think that, but it was almost like every comment was just like, oh my God, this, like, I started crying. Some people were like, I started tearing up and I was ready for the waterworks. I was like, man, that's pretty funny. I kind of want to do it again. So I followed up with it. I followed up with another video later that day that was like, hey, I know a lot of you guys are concerned about the cats. I'm sorry to give you guys a scare, but they're perfectly fine. And like I show that the cats were like right there, and I'm like filming them. Like, here they are, they're perfectly safe and sound, just sleeping, enjoying their lives. And then I pull out an airsoft gun and I go, until now. And then people are just like, I can't, like, you know, and of course there's people who, you know, are triggered. And are like, if you know anything about weapon safety, you would never point a weapon at something you don't intend to shoot. Like, you know, just giving me the whole spiel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, first of all, it's an airsoft gun that is unloaded and it doesn't have any CO2 in it. It's virtually a useless toy. And still people are like, it doesn't matter. You could have killed you could have.
I mean, I think the most you could do is make a half-hearted argument that you're setting a bad example for gun safety for other people, but
yeah,
still, that's reaching.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're gonna offend someone. I posted a tweet earlier this week that was what's more offensive, and the two options were tech ASMR videos, or I said what's more upsetting, tech ASMR videos or 9/11. There were a couple people who weren't down with that poll, who were like, you disgust me. One guy was like, you're a disgusting individual. I was like, damn.
I mean,
oh man,
we're all disgusting at times.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know, embrace it.
Yeah. My gosh.
Like it's gonna happen, so you might as well just make the most of it.
I know, man. Yeah. bunch of snowflakes, man.
So today the Super Bowl happened, and it was great because I didn't watch a second of it.
I can't say the same thing. I wasn't planning on watching any of it, and then I think Mel at one point looked up the score, and it was like one team was losing. You know, it was a bit of a lead. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I looked at the score maybe a couple minutes before the game was supposed to end, like end of the fourth quarter, and it was a tie game. And like that, if there's one thing that'll get me to watch like a Super Bowl or anything, is if it's a really close game and the stakes are that high. Because there's a part of me that regardless of the sport, it could be StarCraft, which is a game I don't even play. Like if it's really that close, if it's just neck and neck, I like a close game in general. So I was like, all right, let's just tune in. So we just went on some pirated TV website, streaming site. And we watched the last maybe like 20 minutes of it because it went into overtime. It was a tie game, and then went into overtime, and it was just like one team just barely won over the other one, and it was kind of fun to see.
Close game, high stakes.
Yeah, it was kind of a nail biting situation. I was like, all right, that's fun, but I'm like, that was enough. The 20 minutes of game time I got, I was like, I'm glad I didn't have to sit through hours of this.
Same.
Just got the most exciting bits of it at the very end. But dude, and there was a Temu commercial during the Super Bowl. Two of them. I saw two of them. It was the same one that they just repeated it, but
Temu is like
it's like AliExpress type of, it's like
AliExpress
the Chinese
version of Amazon.
Yeah, it's like dirt cheap Chinese website. A lot of the Christmas decor that you saw over the last season was from Temu. Mel got on Temu. So it's like hit or miss. Some of it's just complete garbage, and then some of it's actually not bad. But it's all really, really cheap. So even if it sucks, it's like, oh, it was $2.
Is it slow shipping or fast shipping?
It's I think it depends on the item. It's usually not. It's definitely not like Amazon Prime or anything like that.
Okay.
But it was wild. Like just the amount of marketing spend that they're throwing at this company is insane. Like a year ago, I didn't even know what Temu was, and now it's like everywhere. Every freaking person online, like every tech reviewer has like talked about it at some point. They've just spent so much money on trying to push it, and I think they're also offering free shipping at the very least. So they're just like basically taking an L on shipping costs, but trying to gain as much market share as possible. And then there was a freaking Super Bowl ad for it. I was like, oh my god! Like Mel looked it up. It's like, what do you think? What do you think a Super Bowl ad costs this year?
$2 million a minute.
Try 7 million for 30 seconds.
Wow.
That's what she looked up. That's what she
wow.
found. 7 mil for half a minute. And Temu ran twice.
That is impressive.
It's crazy. I mean,
it really is.
It is definitely the most. It has to be the most televised event in America, by far.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah. I think
what comes close.
I want to say like somewhere close to 2/3 of the country watches the Super Bowl.
That's insane. That is insane.
I could be wrong.
Crazy.
But they have hundreds of millions of people watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it is hundreds of millions. Yeah. And it's like something like maybe like the Olympics might compete, but over the span of the entire Olympics, not concurrently at once.
Right.
Like, it's just wild. It's just wild. And then you throw in like Taylor Swift. Like they were calling it the Taylor Bowl or like the Swifty Bowl.
Okay, so how is Taylor Swift involved?
She's dating one of the dudes on the teams.
Did she get involved with the halftime show?
No, she didn't.
She was just there as
cheering
a date.
them on.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like the camera would like the NFL, like the camera would pan to her and her friends like all the time
in their private box,
in their little box.
Yeah,
just like little white girls just losing their minds, like oh my god, it's like crazy. And like that just adds on top of it because Taylor Swift is arguably the most famous person on the planet. And it's like,
if you want to talk like celebrity fame levels,
yeah,
I would say
she's
almost up there.
I would almost argue just in general, like any one globally recognizable person, at least right now in this moment in history.
You think a president would surpass her?
I don't think so at all. I don't think so.
You think more people on the planet know who Taylor Swift is than President Biden? For sure. When you consider that half of the population is like young people, like Mel's cousin in Taiwan, she didn't even know who. Like she's probably a couple years younger than Mel. Had no idea who Elon Musk was. Had no clue. But guaranteed she knows who Taylor Swift is. But he's pretty damn good at getting his name out there.
I would say Taylor Swift is more generationally known, like spans multiple generations. Whereas like a lot of presidents, like politicians in general, are more of like a specific either demographic or a specific generation. Like, or you're just really into politics. But anyway, she was, they just kept panning to her. And then there was a lot of focus on, actually her boyfriend is a pretty good player. He was making some good plays at the end there. I was like, all right.
Nice.
I guess they're both talented.
In their own way.
In their own way.
I don't know. I'm personally I tend to kind of resent getting inundated with stuff about celebrities.
Yeah.
And sort of intentionally push it away or avoid it.
Yeah, right.
Taylor Swift has penetrated my defenses. and I'm a little upset with her and her PR team. Yeah,
I mean it's kind of inevitable. She's like Thanos. She's like, I am inevitable. Like, it doesn't matter how much of a rock you want to live under, you will know my name. There will be a poster of me hanging up in your rock house, whether you like it or not. You can't escape. You can't escape it.
You think we're reaching a new tier of celebrity culture, like an S tier has been created for in the last couple years.
I think fame as a concept just continues to be like there's more and like that becomes a stronger and stronger currency. I think. Yeah. Like attention is like the number one currency right now in America.
You're not wrong. I mean, social media is all about driving attention. And then if you have the potent combination of a celebrity who is drawing a lot of attention, then that's like a gold mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of is this, it's sort of symbiotic in a way. Like it's like, that's what every giant tech company wants is your attention. Mm-hmm. That's the number one currency for them. So it's like they're trying to reward creators and influencers to be on their platform and to try to attract as much attention to themselves as possible to keep eyeballs on their platform. It's crazy.
My defense against all that is Skyrim. I just got back into Skyrim.
I'd much rather give my attention to Skyrim.
It's quite fulfilling, and it does not expose me to any celebrity TMZ drama bullshit nonsense.
Dude, just wait. There's going to be like you're going to accidentally domoad a mod that's like got Taylor Swift with the dragon head. Like it's going to be a dragon with Swifty's head, dude.
I will take the modded Thomas the
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Replacing dragons.
It's 2024. She's gonna be like, and now we got bad blood, and she's gonna be this giant dragon strumming a guitar, just breathing fire down your throat.
Yeah,
it's here, dude.
Miss me with that.
It's the new age. Oh man, I'm glad that you got back into Skyrim though. It's a game that I only ever scratched the surface of, but
it's kind of nostalgic. But then I'm playing, the super everything included remastered edition. So there's a lot more content, and
that's cool.
It's it feels good to get back to basics because it's a little older, but it holds up well, and there is no shortage of content.
Yeah, it's just so vast. It's so vast. You could just. I mean, I almost get overwhelmed with those types of games because it's like they're so open.
It's very open world. Like you can run around and just explore random dungeons, or you can stay super focused on the missions that you have and just try to knock them out, or a mix.
I find them overwhelming because I always get torn between doing the mission and just like running off and doing my own thing. There's always
you
so
will
many
never
things.
fail running off and doing your own thing.
Oh, I know.
You can do that for hours and hours.
Yeah. I almost feel like I'm such an indecisive person. Like I need some rails. I need to be on some form of rails. Otherwise, I get too bombarded with choice.
Then you should play High on Life.
High on Life? What's that?
It's a game produced by the folks behind Rick and Morty.
Ah.
And it's not super long, and it's pretty decently on rails, but it's a lot of fun. And
it's gotta
pretty
be a
humorous.
funny game if it's by those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And it had one of the like final bosses was voiced by James Urbaniak. I hope I pronounced his name right.
Who's that?
He's the guy who voiced Dr. Venture in the Venture Brothers.
Nice.
And I was fighting him, and I was like, this I know this voice actor, like this voice is super familiar, and it was making me crazy because I couldn't think of who it was, and then I was like, oh, it's Dr. Venture. that same voice actor, and I was like,
Nice.
yeah. And then I went down a rabbit hole of like, I want to watch, more stuff with him in it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of things out there where it's not just him, being in one episode of a TV show or something.
Right.
But I'm gonna keep looking into it.
Yeah.
Find something substantial.
I remember my mind was blown years ago when I realized that Mark Hamill had done the voice of the Joker in the Batman animated series.
Oh.
I didn't know that. Like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'd watch that show every day after school and stuff. And I always knew who Mark Hamill was. I just never realized until way later that he was the voice of the Joker the whole time.
He is a very prolific voice actor, and he's freaking amazing at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane because you would never even put the two together. A lot of them you're like, oh yeah, I can see it. When you figure out who's voicing someone, you're like, yeah. But he's just very talented.
He's sort of like the Gary Oldman of voice acting.
Yeah.
Because Gary Oldman has all these different characters, and sometimes you'll watch a movie with him in it and never even realize it was him.
Exactly.
Because he's just so...
He's a shapeshifter.
He is, yeah. He's very much a shapeshifter.
He's the opposite of like fucking Bruce Willis. He's the polar. He's the antithesis of
Bruce Willis. Is just Bruce Willis.
Yeah, dude.
No getting around
He's
it.
the same, or like Keanu Reeves. They're the same in every movie.
Gary Oldman is like...
Gary Oldman is
he's a
cannot
chameleon.
be the same. He is.
And he
crushes it, but he crushes everything. He crushes every role he gets.
Shout out to The Fifth Element. If you have not watched that movie,
Yeah.
I request humbly that you indulge yourself and watch The Fifth Element, because that is my favorite. One of my favorite sci-fi movies in general, and it's got Bruce Willis and Gary Oldman.
Yeah. It took me so long, like another thing, to realize that Gary Oldman was like, because I had mostly known him from Fifth Element, and then didn't like you were just saying, I had no idea he was in The Dark Knight when I first watched it.
Yeah, no, he was
Gordon.
The police commissioner.
Gordon. Yeah,
right.
I was like, oh my god, he just looks so different.
Yeah, he's done a lot of roles.
Yeah,
you've watched and you've never even realized it was Gary Oldman.
Yeah, dude, that's
I got mad respect for him.
That guy's the goat.
Did you have any special topics planned, or did you want to?
Yeah, actually, I did. I did pull up on ChatGPT some. Oh no, wait. Actually, before that, I did think, have we done this before? Like answered some of those like philosophical questions, like the morally ambiguous situations, like the trolley problem. I don't think we've done that on here yet.
I don't think we have.
All right, so you want to explain the trolley? You probably explain it better than I can.
Okay, so trolley problem is you are standing at a switch. There's a trolley coming down the tracks, and there's a fork. So the switch controls which of the two ways the trolley will go. And the moral dilemma is, depending on which way you switch it, the trolley goes and murders one person,
right, versus 5 or something,
or 5 people. And I forget if it's got the added complexity of the one person is like old and then the 5 people are like young, or vice versa. I forget the details of it.
I think there's a few different versions. The one that I heard most recently is the train is already set to kill the 5 people.
Okay,
it's already going to hit the 5 people. You have the choice. Do you just let it continue and let fate decide to kill these 5? Or do you actively pull the switch so that it switches tracks and kills the one person to save 4 lives?
Yeah, gotcha.
So I don't know. Do you have you ever thought of that? What you would do in that situation?
A little bit. I would say
let's assume, just for the sake of the hypothetical, like they're all the same age, roughly They're all like 35.
You're not getting into the weeds of going,
like
okay,
kid.
some people have more value than others.
Yeah, the one dude's a serial killer. It's fucking
right.
Yeah. Jeffrey
because
Dahmer.
that's a whole other can of worms where you're like, well,
Yeah.
how do you assign value to a human life?
Right, exactly. How do you rank them?
I would. So by inaction, you allow 5 people to die. By action, you basically choose to kill one person, but
Right.
save 5 people.
Right.
If I had to make that choice, I would probably kill the one person to save the 5 people.
Yeah, same.
I mean, it's not it's like the Kobayashi Maru of philosophical scenarios.
What's that?
The Kobayashi Maru is from Star Trek. It's a
Of course.
it's a battle simulation that's designed for you to never be able to win. But it's still a valuable test of how you perform when you're against unbeatable odds.
It's a lose-lose.
But you're meant to it's meant to spark innovation and make people go, well, maybe I can break the rules and try something different.
Right, I see.
But ultimately, most people are just like, they fail every time, like because it's built to be unwinnable.
Right. It kind of forces you to think outside the box.
That's the idea. Yeah,
I see. Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to think outside the box in this scenario. It's like you can't like hijack the train and stop it.
You don't have superpowers. We can just grab the trolley and throw
right.
it. Yeah.
You don't have like a brick of C4 that you can just blow it up before it hits anyone. And you just end up killing everyone on the train. But I would do the same thing. I'd probably just I would actively kill the one person because I feel like there's less lives affected. I feel like there's less of an impact.
So then the trolley problem is tangentially related to a more modern problem, which is if you have a self-driving car and it's put in a situation where it can either hit and kill a pedestrian or swerve off and crash and potentially injure or kill like the occupants of the car, like 4 people maybe.
Okay.
How do you program that machine to make that decision? And who's responsible? Is it the programmer? Is it the machine making the decision?
Well, I mean, ultimately it's the programmer because the machine isn't actively consciously making a decision. The programmer is forcing it to act a certain way. So
Depends unless it's a black box AI where there's no programming it to do a specific
just
thing.
an algorithm.
You can encourage it towards certain directions, but it will actually end up making its own decision.
But even then, you can't really. I don't know if you can blame a machine.
No, but you can. Let's say you're driving yourself. You're in a self-driving car. You can change the settings.
Yeah.
And say prioritize the safety of the occupants,
right.
or prioritize the safety of others.
Yeah.
Then that's partly a human decision coming into the mix.
I mean, my initial thought is to prioritize the safety of any pedestrians because at least the people inside the vehicle have the safety of airbags. Like they have the built-in safety of the vehicle.
Right.
There's standardizations to make a vehicle
versus pedestrians
safe.
Are just fragile little meat puppets.
Exactly. Yeah. There's zero chance of survival.
Yeah.
So that's my initial thought is, okay, well, just prioritize the person who's naked and completely vulnerable. Prioritize their safety. But
if that means somebody jumps out in the street and then your car prioritizes the safety of the pedestrian by veering off and smashing into a wall at high speeds.
Right. Yeah.
Then that's a thing.
All right. Then you got to like teach the car, if it's a crazy person, if it's a homeless dude who's on meth, then kill him.
But a homeless dude on meth is much less valuable than Taylor Swift?
I mean, by society standards, probably, but I don't know about by
philosophically.
I mean, if you're on crack and you're jumping out in front of traffic, I think that could be applied to anyone, including Taylor Swift. If Taylor Swift was on crack and jumped out in front of traffic, that's still on her.
That's basically, yeah. They're trending towards death at a rapid rate.
It's more like who's out of line, more so than who is the person. It's more like who's the one at fault.
Yeah. Well, good luck programming that into a self-driving car.
Yeah, easier said than done. Yeah, I'm not going to touch that shit. That's why I don't run Tesla. But I don't even. That would be insane though if there was like a switch that like you could just be like prioritize my life over anyone around me. You know, just tell the car.
That's a thing that we'll have to face in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would prioritize myself for sure.
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with being selfish when it comes to your own safety.
Right.
Or you could just, drive the car yourself and then be responsible.
Yeah.
For your safety and that of others, which is where we're currently at.
But then again, it's like, but you could crash. You could crash and kill someone. Whereas like the autopilot might have made the better choice and saved a life.
It's true. It's a complicated landscape of responsibility and philosophical concepts that I'm only vaguely familiar with because I watched The Good Place.
I know. It's like watches The Good Place once. It's like, and now I'm an expert on philosophical topics.
I really wish
that's how I felt after.
I had taken the time to read like Nietzsche and some of the other, because the show actually like has a list of different literary works by great philosophers that it drops throughout, and it's like if you really wanted to, you could go through and read those and be like, oh wow, I've learned quite a lot about philosophy.
Well, you could read them all in like a week. You're such a quick reader, like you could just breeze through it.
If it's fiction, if it's somebody telling a story, I can crush that pretty quickly. If it's dense, if it requires a lot of thinking, if I have to reread the same sentence multiple times to make sure I get the concept, then
it slows you down a little bit.
It slows me down.
For sure. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Have you read anything lately?
No, not lately. I still got that book that you let me borrow.
Okay.
The Bounty Hunters.
Did you put it in your bathroom next to the toilet?
It's not in the bathroom. I was like, it felt weird. I thought about it, and it felt weird bringing your book into my bathroom. Where I'm just like gonna get my filth on it and stuff.
It's a used book,
like, taking a shit. I know. It's just, I don't know. It made me feel dirty.
Okay. I mean, I read on the toilet all the time.
It's on my desk. And like, I don't really read in the bathroom. Like even when I would read more back in the day, I never really read in the bathroom.
Well, okay, but when you're in the bathroom, you're on your phone.
Yeah, but I'm never like, that's because like you could be on your phone for 30 seconds to a minute. I'm not gonna like read for 30 seconds. If I read, it's gonna be for a few minutes.
Okay.
Usually,
that's fair.
But no, I haven't read anything recently.
Well.
Yeah,
I will again encourage you to do so.
You should keep asking me until I eventually get encouraged enough, motivated enough to eventually be like, yes, Ian, I did read this week. And here was my experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will try to do my best to strike the balance between encouraging and nagging. Just annoying as shit.
Yeah. I trust you'll find that middle ground. Fine line.
Let's see. I have some stories that I brought along. I didn't share them last week.
Oh yeah, what you got?
Less exciting perhaps than last week, but worth touching on, I think.
Okay.
So have you ever missed? You've missed a flight before, right?
Yes.
I've never missed a flight.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
I very nearly missed a flight flying out to the Netherlands about a year ago.
Yeah.
So what I do is I go through security, I find the gate, and I post up at the gate, and then I just wait until boarding starts typically.
Right.
And somehow, I think what might have happened is that, because you take a screenshot of your boarding pass.
Yeah.
I think what might have happened is the gate changed between when I took my screenshot and when I actually was at the airport. I don't know.
All the time.
But I posted up at the wrong gate.
Okay.
I was waiting and I was waiting and I was like, man, my flight's coming up soon. Like, nothing's happening.
Were there any other people waiting there?
There was people waiting around.
Okay.
But I didn't look at the actual gate info and verify that I was at the right gate. Like, I was like, gate number. Okay, cool.
Right.
So after a while, I happened to take off my headphones and I hear my name on the PA.
Oh, shit.
Like, final boarding call.
Oh, God. That's just, your heart sinks in that moment.
Dude, I had...
Oh, my God.
I was working on some emails. Like, closed my laptop, stuffed in my backpack, stuffed other stuff in my backpack.
Yeah.
Didn't even zip it up all the way. Just started sprinting towards the gate.
God.
Shit was falling out of my backpack.
Like,
and I had to stop and
what a scene.
collect it and just try to stuff it back in there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, this guy with one of the people mover golf cart type of things was coming along. He saw me in a state of panic and disarray, and he was like, "What's your gate?" I'm like, 25, and he's like, "Just grab your shit, hop on, we'll get you there." And he
guardian angel.
Yeah, he hauled ass.
Your terminal hero.
Got me to my gate, and I ran up to the gate, and they were like, they gave me a stern tongue whipping about being late. I was like, I'm super sorry. I'm super sorry. But I made it on.
Oh man.
And then one time in Atlanta, I was dicking around and I didn't take into account how long the tram ride is from one side of the airport to the other.
Yeah.
So I spent too much time in the airport lounge. And then last minute, I thought I had time, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I got on the tram and it was just like super slow going to where I needed to be. Ran up to the gate. They had already closed the doors. And I was just like, I need to get on this plane. Please let me on this plane. Like, I'm begging you here. And there was a pilot who was going to board the plane. I think they were just flying jump seat. And I was like, and I could hear them on the radio, like, "Oh, we're going to open up the jetway for so-and-so."
just let me follow him in there.
And I was like, well, you're going to open it up anyway to let this person on. Like, can I just piggyback with them, like tag along? Because otherwise, you're letting somebody on and I'm just standing here and you're telling me I can't go on.
Right, exactly.
And this lady, she was very disinclined to give me what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I was just another dipshit who was bad at time management.
Yeah.
But
she probably gets off on like just watching people miss their flights.
I was incredibly...
There's part of them that something about that satisfies those people.
Probably. I can't... I would expect that. But I did my utmost to be respectful and not like angry or entitled or...
Sure.
Okay, I was probably a little bit entitled.
Sure. You're probably pleading a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, dude. Come on.
I just... Finally, she was just like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so I had the interesting experience of being the last person on the airplane. Everybody's seated. They're buckled in. I run down the aisle. I find a spot to throw my carry-on.
Yeah.
Close it. Find my seat. Sit down. And within 30 seconds, the plane is taxiing.
Jeez, that's nuts. That's crazy.
And I was just like panting and all sweaty. And
oh man.
I don't know. I don't remember if I got like dirty looks coming in or if people were just like, whatever. But
yeah, right.
That's the closest I've ever come to missing a flight.
Damn, dude.
But I have a 100% success rate in not missing flights, even though I've cut it damn close.
The one time I cut it really close, it was a business trip to Macau, and I was with Paul as well, and we were trying to board our flight out of Macau. I think we had to take a transfer from there to, I don't know, maybe Taiwan and then back home or something like that. But we get to the Macau airport, and it's not like a Western airport. It's like we're trying to stand in line at the kiosk, the ticket booth, and there's really no line. It's just a horde of people just pushing their way. A blob of people, mostly, I think, just like, Asian people, like whatever, locals, just pushing their way to the front of this ticket booth. And it's just chaos. And we're already running late. So there's no organization. We finally get our boarding pass after like trying to fight our way to the front. It's crazy. I'm like, this is just normally how it is there.
You can't leave a gap in between you and the person in front of you.
I'm like kneeing little Asian women.
You gotta be nut to butt.
Yeah, dude. I was like just trying to push my way through it, and we just hauled ass. As soon as we got our boarding pass, we just hauled ass as fast as we could, and they were just about to close the gate. They were just about to close the door, and we just barely made it on. And again, everyone was seated. Paul and I are just like sweating, and we made it on board. And like that was by far the most stressful situation, just because of the crowds and just like the chaos. There was no order whatsoever. And then the one time that I actually did miss my flight, it was when I was going to Colombia, actually, because I had a transfer in I think it was Bogota, maybe. I had a transfer, and I think I maybe had like 15, 20 minutes to make my transfer. And I'm just in this foreign airport. There's not much in English. I have no idea where I'm at. I lose my bearings, and I just didn't find the gate and like the proper part of the airport in time to make my transfer flight. And then I think I asked one of the, I don't know, just some guy who worked there, clearly worked at the airport.
Yeah.
I was like, where I'm looking for this gate. Where is it? At this point, I already kind of like, at that point I kind of knew I was going to miss it, but I was like, maybe there's still a chance that I can get the flight. And he directed me in the right area. But then he was like, oh, it is customary to leave a tip for any assistance. He's like, it's not required, but he was like basically asking for a tip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I'm like fishing like a $5 out of my pocket. I'm like, here you go. And then I still missed my flight.
Okay.
I should have gone back to him and taken the tip back. But it was basically like, I missed my flight. It wasn't that bad though. I think I had to wait another hour and a half before the next flight out. And it was an opportunity for me to like practice my Espanol. I like ordered like some pan dulce from one of the airport restaurants, and
nice.
was trying to order in Spanish and stuff. And I was vlogging the whole thing too. So it was like, all right, this is content. So it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that bad. And it's like, I was by myself. It would have been different if I was like with people or with Mel or something like that. I was like, all right, I'm fine. I don't have anywhere to be. I'm fine. But surprisingly, like, because I'm surprised that I've only missed, I'm pretty proud that I've only missed that one flight despite like how many times I've flown.
Yeah.
Like I would expect myself to have missed way more at this point. But that was the one time. And that was, only a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe. So
one thing that I learned from flights with transfers is before you take off, like while you're boarding your first flight, you look up
which
map.
gate?
You look up a map of the airport you're going to.
Yeah.
And you download that.
Yeah, right.
And then so that way, even if your gate changes, like you don't have to go and try to find a kiosk. Like you have a map, and as long as you know what your gate number is, you can try to navigate your way through.
Right.
So it's not foolproof, but it gives you
gives you a bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Learned that lesson.
Have you ever flown out of John Wayne Airport?
I don't know.
In Orange County?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that was another thing that I was thinking of as sort of a story thing, because I was reminded, I was watching some video from an air show where this passenger plane takes off with just like extreme like just 45-degree angle up, like that takes off and just like doing that.
Yeah.
which you can't do that with a fully loaded plane.
Right, right.
But it reminded me of John Wayne, which is notable for its very high angle, or what's the word?
Pitch.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really? That airport specifically, like?
Yes, it has a
very aggressive pitch flying out.
Because there's a whole system of trying to mitigate noise from the airport. So they have this particular flight pattern. When you take off at normally it's like 10 to 15 degrees.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that. John Wayne, it's like 25 degrees.
Oh, okay.
So you take off and you're just like,
which doesn't sound like a big difference, but I'm sure it is.
You are you're very much and yeah. they go full throttle like
right
for a long time. So
yeah,
I grew up flying out of John Wayne. I thought that kind of thing was normal. So
interesting.
I got used to like pretty aggressive takeoffs and landings there. And then
are the landings just as steep, but just the other way? Like they just dive bomb it?
The landings aren't super aggressive, but they're a little bit more aggressive than the average airport. Wow. So that was actually a good thing for me because it taught me to be used to like
you just desensitized to it a bit.
Take off and landing. Okay. Right. It's this one's pretty smooth. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
But I recommend it. If you haven't tried flying out of the airport, it's fun.
It's an experience.
It is.
It's like a little ride.
You take off, you kind of haul ass up into the sky, and then you fly over the ocean.
Yeah.
And then you do a 180, and then assuming you're heading into the States,
right?
Then you do a turnaround over the ocean, and then head towards whatever your eventual destination is.
Yeah, that's cool. I love flying, actually. I didn't used to like it all that much, but I've grown an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
I think it's like the second you take off, there's something very relieving about it because
absolutely
your entire day leading up until that very moment is just movement and stress. And go. From the time you wake up, it's like it's travel day.
Yes.
You wake up and it's just constant motion and things you have to do and get your phone out and take your shoes off and TSA and all this shit. And then the second you take off, you're like,
I made it.
I can finally exhale.
Yes.
It's the first exhale of the day.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Because the whole process of travel is stress. And then the objective, once you've achieved your objective of getting on the plane and that plane is taking off, you're good. You can relax.
Yeah, man.
And that's a satisfying feeling.
It is. And then you start to finally get excited for the trip ahead. You know, you're like, you get to start thinking about it.
Yeah. You never wake up cool. Like, oh, I'm so excited to go to Hawaii today or wherever.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, I have to get to the airport by such and such o'clock.
Right. I have to pack my fucking charger. Don't forget the charger. Don't forget the charger.
Exactly.
What time do I have to call the Uber to get there by this time? And then like you're just doing all this mental.
You can definitely reduce the stress by trying to plan stuff out as much as possible. Like make sure you're completely packed. Like if I have a substantial trip, I'll pack like a week early.
Yeah.
And then I'll repack. Like I'll review what I have and I'll go, okay, I don't need this, but I forgot this, and this. So let me make sure like, the day before, I'll just kind of like dial it in.
Yeah. I usually make a checklist. I always make a checklist for a big trip. And, although for Vegas this year, I forgot pants. So,
well,
some things it's
just
easy
so
to
take pants for granted.
Yeah. It's not something that you would ever put on a list, for a trip. Like bring pants. Like you never put like bring underwear. Like you just assume that you already know. It's like things that you wouldn't think to forget. Like it's just so obvious. But that was the one time I forgot a very obvious item because I was so distracted by all the other little random like tech and equipment and film gear and editing stuff and PCs, like monitors that I had to bring. I forgot the most basic fundamental items.
But here's the thing: pants aren't critical. They're important, but they're not mission critical. Like you wore shorts.
Yeah,
they got you where you needed to go.
Barely.
And you were in. Then you had a chance to buy pants if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. So they got you through.
They did. Just barely. Barely made dress code for some of those dinners.
You didn't buy pants?
I did eventually.
Okay.
I did when Mel got there, like at the end of the week. But yeah, dude, traveling's fun. We just booked our trip. Mel and I booked our trip to Nashville today, and then
nice.
We also did some booking for Taiwan and Japan.
Oh snap!
Yeah, in June.
All right.
And I hear that you might be joining. Possibly.
I am quite interested.
Yeah, man. It's better to buy tickets sooner than before they really skyrocket in price.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to keep working on my planning for that. I have a good baseline set up, but I want to get it dialed in.
I'll remind you. I told Mel that. I was like, Ian might come to Taiwan around the same time we are. And she was like, really? She's like, I'm excited for him. I was like, yeah. It's going to be awesome to just witness you experiencing Taiwan for the first time.
Totally. Like,
so fun.
Like getting to introduce somebody to a thing or a place that you're passionate about and you think is awesome.
Yeah.
It's super satisfying.
It is. It's like the first time I witnessed Mel watch Pulp Fiction. That was a cool experience.
Definitely.
Because it almost reawakens that initial love that you had for it. You know, that initial like reaction that you had to it.
Right.
You get to see your own reaction. You know, you live vicariously through them. You get to re-experience it for the first time.
Exactly. Like, you know, if I had kids, I would be so stoked to have them watch the original Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Even though
they probably watch it through like a contact lens or some
implant in they're going to watch it on a VHS like God intended.
Yeah, there you go. The original. None of that like CGI edited shit.
Exactly.
None of those 12-second no.
That's what I grew up on, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the version of Star Wars that's the true version in my opinion.
Yeah, dude. Do they have a Star Wars play? I feel like there should be a Star Wars like Broadway or something. I think that'd be sick.
I'm surprised that they don't have like Star Wars on Ice. Because Disney owns the Star Wars IP.
They do. You mean like at Disney World or like Disneyland? Like,
well, okay, Disney on Ice is like.
Oh, they have Disney on Ice. But isn't
that's like princesses and.
That's at their amusement parks, though.
I don't know where it is.
I don't know if that's. I feel like that's an amusement park type attraction, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's outside of that. But I feel like Star Wars is a shoo-in. It's like it's a no-brainer. It's such a cash grab. It's like it would do well if you did like a Star Wars musical or a Star Wars Broadway,
like adaptation for stage. I think that would be really challenging, but I would be interested to see what came out of it.
And I think it would be really unique because I don't think I've ever even heard of like a sci-fi Broadway play.
Sci-fi tends to I don't think it lends itself well to the stage because it's such it's dynamic. It has so many different environments. It has so many different special effects.
But have you been to like a modern Broadway? Like it's crazy the shit that they do, like the set design. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's crazy how they can just transform from scene to scene.
Yeah.
You're just like blown away. Like, oh my God. Like, and they set it up in, within seconds between.
It's like they have it's Formula One pit crew, but their job is changing the set.
Really? Yeah. I'd love to like watch one of those behind the scenes videos of like what's happening behind the curtains, for those 15 seconds with just like 50 people just moving, knowing exactly what they need to do and just setting up this entire new set. I think they could do it. I think they could pull it off.
There's a pretty good video on YouTube I saw that was this shot that is like a single take and it's
for film
and it's kind of circling around a room.
I've seen that.
We're okay with
they're moving the couches.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's unbelievable.
That's
so
like on a small scale what I have to imagine the Broadway stuff is like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking of that video when I was talking about that. I was thinking of that exact video.
Because it's impressive.
It is. And just the fact that like everything that's happening is just inches outside of what the camera is seeing.
Yes, everything is everything is like everybody is staying out of frame.
Yeah.
They know exactly where the field of vision of the camera is, and they're just like scamping around it. Yeah.
Oh god,
they must have rehearsed that a bunch.
It's almost like watching a single organism, you know, because everything's just so in sync.
Yeah.
It's almost just like this single thing, you know? It's so fluid. It's amazing.
I really would love to go and see like films being shot. I think it would be really cool just to be on set and see how things work.
Right.
But
it's magic, dude.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
Movie magic is a thing. Let me see. I had a couple other. Oh, speaking of movies. Okay, one of my notes that I had made for myself was sex in movies and books.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm going to lead with the trope of as when you're watching a movie with your family or watching a movie around your family, and the minute they walk in, all of a sudden sex is happening.
Yeah, it's the worst.
But but if you're just watching it yourself, do you ever go, okay, like for me, especially if I'm watching a TV show, I'm just like not that interested in watching. I'm just like, this is not
the
really
sex part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is not advancing the plot. It's not developing the characters. Probably.
It's always cheesy.
It's usually quite cheesy.
It's always very cheesy, and it's like they're just throwing it in there because they know like sex sells. It's something. I think it's something that they use specifically for the trailers and all the teasers.
Oh, yeah,
just so they can have
sense.
a half a second shot of some half naked chick in the teasers and trailers to rope people in.
That makes sense to me.
If for no other reason, I think that's what it's for.
Yeah. Books on the other hand, I would say
you vibe with the book sex. You're down with the book sex.
Well, there's
maybe it doesn't feel as
it's a different vibe because I'm responsible for interpreting what the person writes. Some writers are hilariously bad at sex scenes. In fact, I think there's a I want to say it's the there's like a prize for really bad literature. I can't think of the name of it.
Nice.
And I want to say there might be a subcategory for worst sex scene.
Gotta go to Twilight.
I can't speak to that. But sometimes I'll read it and I'm like, this is actually eloquently written and actually engaging and not super like just graphic. It's more like poetic or not explicit, but more abstract.
Yeah, I see.
And I'm like, okay, that I didn't mind reading that. That was, maybe it has some dialogue with character development.
Sure.
But then sometimes there's scenes where I'm like, okay, this is hilariously like bad. Like I feel like there's nobody to walk in the room who is gonna judge me for what I'm reading. Like when you're watching something, right?
Yeah.
But I still am just like, this is a little cringy. I'm gonna skip this.
Right, for sure. It's like the difference between admiring a pair of tits on like a Michelangelo sculpture, where it's like that's art, that's beautiful. Like he nailed the human anatomy. It's done tastefully and tactfully, and it's there's some class to it or whatever. there's history involved versus tits in like a music video, like a rap music video. They're both tits. They're both tits, but there's a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially writers who are just like, they have to take the male protagonist and just have them be beyond human sexual prowess and write in depth about that. And I'm just like, come on.
Like they like make the guy like a porn star, like a
basically
mega stud, mega Chad.
And I'm like, okay, this is doing nothing for me. This is not.
Yeah, right.
This is not moving the plot along.
It's not moving the plot along, nor is it like artistic in any way.
No, it's just egregiously
kind of smutty.
Yeah. And
yeah.
That's the thing is, I have never read a romance novel, and I won't. Like, I just
sounds terrible.
Yeah,
sounds like the chick flick of books.
Well, that might be a little.
Maybe it's an oversimplification.
Yeah, but still, like, it just does not.
Well, you never
appeal to me.
You never got down on the 50 Shades of Grey train. You never jumped on that bandwagon.
No. I would not read those books.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it's not if you couldn't turn that into a movie that I'd want to watch, then it's probably not a book I want to read.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to watch that in a movie
I felt the exact same way. I didn't want to watch the movies. I didn't want to read the books.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm really glad is there was this, there've been some real noticeable phases in Hollywood. Like, it was vampires.
Yeah.
And vampires and werewolves for a while.
Yeah,
and then there was like a strong like zombies phase.
Yeah.
And those seem to have worn off. I don't know where we're at now.
We had aliens for a little bit.
Did we?
I think we had some alien stuff.
Okay.
Well, aliens have always kind of been spread out.
They've been in the mix
all the way back from like the Independence Day era to like Annihilation and what's the other one? The language one where they're trying to interpret.
Arrival.
Arrival. Aliens have always been around.
I never get tired of aliens.
Aliens are great. That's probably one of my faves amongst everything that you just rattled off.
But zombies, werewolves, vampires, all kind of out of vogue at this point because they've been run into the ground.
Yeah, they have.
Any other trends like that you've seen?
Jeez.
There was a bunch of Driver movies, like Drive, Baby Driver.
Right.
I guess I don't know if the whole Fast and Furious franchise counts.
Right. Or some of like the high adrenaline, high octane action movies with like Jason Statham, like The Transporter.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Definitely.
But I don't know, man. There's
I think that's not overplayed. It's overstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
People still enjoy some gritty, high octane driving.
Definitely. Yeah, action's fun. You have a favorite action movie?
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element does have some good action.
It does.
There's some good action in there.
I would say there are some other strong contenders. Not fully action, but True Lies.
I don't think I ever saw that.
That was Arnold.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never saw that. Yeah. Actually, he does one of my favorite actions of all time, Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 is rock solid. I remember recently watching the original Terminator.
That one's good too.
I was like, it's good, but it's like, why was I expecting this to be better? And then I realized I think I've only ever watched Terminator 2 and thought that was the start of the series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they really they improved quite a lot from the first to the second.
One of the rare occasions when the sequel is like way better than the first one.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you get a decent movie and then it's successful and then you get a huge budget for the sequel and then you actually don't waste it on cocaine and stupid shit and you use it wisely and make a better movie.
You kind of care about the movie. Yeah, it was a good one.
Favorite action?
Tropic Thunder, favorite action comedy.
Yeah.
Definitely, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Can't disagree with that. You need to watch that with Mel as well.
It's still on the bucket list for sure.
And shout out to Tropic Thunder's DVD commentary for being amazing.
I still need to watch that. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, man. Movies, they're good.
Drive was good as far as action movies go. Drive was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Looper's
great.
Yeah.
I threw that on in the background the other night just to have it on.
The ending was kind of, at first I was like, well, that's a stupid cop out. Like that was not quite as bad as some writers going, oh, but it was all a dream.
Sure.
But the more, like, I've rewatched it a few times and I was like, I think I got the point of it, which was not just like, oh, here's a simple solution to a complicated problem. It was like,
right.
There was a lot more, sort of. I looked at it and saw like a character analyzing and weighing the costs and trying to find the best possible solution and then choosing to make a sacrifice.
Right. Yeah. It was more about that than just the I guess like the surface, like the face value ending, like just what was going on.
Right.
It was more about the characters.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, but such a talk about a movie that still like holds up after all these years. Like it's timeless. It's pretty timeless.
I was gonna say it's not even that old, but
it is old now, dude. We're old as shit, dude. What year do you think that movie came out, dude?
I want to say 2011, 2015.
Really? 2011? Okay, that's close. 2012. But it's well over a decade old now. 12 years?
Man, a decade isn't 12
years.
Oh, man.
12 years is a lot, dude.
All right, we need to not turn into the complaining about being old brigade. Nobody needs to hear that.
The Geezer podcast. Bunch of geezes.
Because here's the thing: there's people who are 65 who look at us and they're like,
"You kids,
you're children, you're babies,
you little babies."
There's always an older fish.
There's always an older fish
until you're the oldest fish.
Yeah, at some point we will be the oldest fish, and then we can complain about being old.
Like we'll have really put you back into it.
We'll have earned it. That's what you get. That's your reward for being old as shit. Is you get to complain about being old, and actually everyone's like, yeah, no, we agree. You are old as shit,
and get away with being
creepy,
racist,
racist and creepy.
Yeah,
you can be racist and creepy, and people just give you a pass. Like, oh, they're from a different time. They'll be dead soon. It's fine.
Although I don't know if we'll get that pass as old people if we want it.
If we want it.
If we try to invoke it, I think at that point society will be like, no, you may be old, but you know better.
Right. True. Unless we're like a cute old person, you can get away with a lot if you're cute. You can get away with a lot of racism,
regardless of your age.
A lot of harassment.
Cuteness gets you far in life.
Cuteness will prevail. It does. It's a power up, dude.
It is.
It is a total power up. But I think that's our time for today. Again, another quick hour. It's been an hour and 8 minutes.
Wow.
We're just having too much fun.
Well then, thank you for tuning in to a very special Super Bowl day edition of Super Special.
Yeah.
We appreciate your eyeballs and ears.
Indeed.
And we hope to please them. Let us know what you like. Let us know
what you're into.
What yeah. We want to hear your constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Or just, hate mail. We'll take that too.
We love hate mail.
But yeah, interact, jump on the Discord, and comment and all that good stuff.
Yep. Make sure to rate us on your podcast platform of choice. We are available everywhere. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.
Later.